Testing 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is my second take of talk about IdeaMaker. Yeah, I found some neat little tricks, but it's not difficult to set up. As I say, initially you have to go through the wizard, control wizard, and you'll get this initially when you fire up. But once that's done, you've really got your printer settings and your filament settings to look at. The default printers, the ones that they support, are pretty much their own. So you have to create a new printer type. But there are additional types that you can choose from. But obviously they're aimed at their Raise3d, platform. So you create yourself a new effectively a new printer type, and from here you plumb in your normal settings. So for the ender, you're probably aware that the build plate's 220 by 220, and the height on the x-axis is 250. And you leave these on, so you want to enable, you want obviously using a heated end, enable a fan speed, and I think I can probably reset that down to whatever it was before. I think it was down at 0.5 or something. It's just distance from the border of the build plate. And again, there's tips here. Keep a safe distance from the border of the build plate. Note this option used in checking whether models are placed outside the extruder's printing range. So it's basically like a little indent, if you like. Set it up. You choose this little action here. Whether you want upload to printer means upload to one of their printers. Obviously, the rest of them are fairly straightforward. But you have to use upload to Octoprint. Set your URL, your IP address, and set the API code, which you can get from your settings in Octoprint. Default is to set your PLA to 1.75, extruder set as 1. Yeah, it's not rocket science really. There is an option to import from a profile, and it looks like there is an IdeaMaker profile. I haven't found any for the ender, but somebody will, in fact, I've probably got to export this. In fact, what I will do is exactly that. Do you want to save the changes? Yeah, go on then. And I then want to export this to be an export printer. There you go. So I will put this available somewhere on the internet for people to take advantage of. Right. Yeah, that's fine. Done. Advanced settings. I don't think I've changed anything in here at all. I think I left these the default. Primary extruder, I've left these the default. These are just maximum temperatures and so forth anyway. The slicer settings is where the rest of the settings are. So when you come to the point where you've, in fact, let's just delete, let's go and create a file. And what should we do? I want to remove, in fact, just close that altogether. Okay, project has been changed. You want to save this? Nope. I don't particularly. Let's just go back into, I'll come out of this version of IdeaMaker as well. I'll say no, and I'll just go straight into IdeaMaker and I'll show you the basic import mechanism. I presume it supports drag and drop as well. Let's give that a go. Let's see if drag and drop works just like it does in Cura. So if I go to downloads and I go and grab hold of the stand, it looks like to me it does support drag and drop. So you can either use the import models option and point it to your STL, presumably it takes G-code. Zoom, just use your mouse wheel. Close that little panel there. You've also got home, and you've got the usual controls up in the right hand side, which is quite nice. You can use your zoom to go in, hold the control shift and move around that way, or you can also import or export from here as well. I'm going to click on edit this. So I've basically got the default sort of settings in here. Only things I've changed, I think, may have I changed the shells to 1 rather than 5 or what it was set to. First layer height, I've set to 0.25 for a thick layer because I want a nice sticky brim, for example, or a sticky first layer. First layer flow rate, usually it's greater, so either 102 or wherever you like it to be. First layer extrusion width percentage, 130%, again because you want a nice sticky layer. First layer pattern, you can choose what you want. I've chosen lines, but you've got a couple to choose from there. I don't think I've set anything else down here. I think I've left the defaults. There's a simple mode as well. And there's also, you know, an advanced mode, which we were looking at before. So you get all the settings. Extruder settings, usual things down here. Don't forget to set your retraction amount on the end at about 6 millimeters. And don't forget to set your extra prime or extra restart amount to about 0.68. Usually those settings seem to work quite well with the ender with a good Bowden cable. Z-hop 0.2 if you want to use Z-hop, which I have set because I'd like to use Z-hop rather than it bumping into things as it moves across the build plate. And especially if you've got more than one object as well on the build plate, Z-hop is quite nice because it lifts the Z-axis by 0.2 of a millimeter to avoid the head sticking or banging on things as it moves across the build plate. Infill, yeah, you can set your infill 5%. Your infill flow rate, if you want to change that, you can. What type of infill do you want to use? Grid, rectilinear, triangles, blah, blah, blah. I think I've left these the default again. Solid fill, left the default support. I'm not using it. Platform additions, not using any. Cooling, I've turned the fan off. Temperature, I've set for 60 and 200 for the bed and the head. Speed, 60. Again, I've left most of these the defaults. Apart from I've changed that one to default print speed of 60. I left these pretty much the same. I don't think I've set any advanced settings. Ooze, I haven't changed. Other, set anything here. G-code, I have set some codes in here. So I get nice little strip, 2 strips down the left-hand side. So it primes the head. And I borrowed those from previous settings from the Cura, which I think I've detailed before. So that's all set. And I would say slice at that point. And then I will go preview. And then there's a nice feature if you hold the control shift key down where, oh no, it's not control shift, is it the control key? Let me see. Control shift. Nope. I had it working a minute ago where one of the keys allowed you, let me see if I remember which key it is. Maybe that needs to be in focus. Yeah, I had one of the keys a minute ago, hotkeys, whereas using the Control Shift, I think it was, and it allowed you to look through the layers rather than having to use this little slider here. So, but anyway, that shows you the gyroid. Then I can just zoom in here. Control Shift moves the plane. There you go. Shift. Right. That should do it. Yeah, and then that's ready to print. So I'll then choose Octoprint or various other options in here. All right, that's it. Good luck.